Welcome to Talk Branding to Me, the podcast for women building intentional businesses and brands rooted in strategy, not just aesthetics.
Branding doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It's more than design. It's how strategy and style come together to create an identity, build trust, and stand out.
We're your hosts, Jamie Wright of Embellish Brands
And Jessie Ford of Untethered Design Studio.
We're brand strategists, designers, and friends who turned our coffee chats into honest conversations about branding done right.
And wrong.
If you're feeling stuck or unsure about your brand, you're in the right place.
And now, let's talk branding.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Talk Branding to Me. My name is Jamie. I am your co-host here with Jessie as well. Today, we are talking about personal branding. This is a subject that we have talked about before, and it's probably not going to be the last time that we talk about personal branding. And the reason for that is because we're hearing a lot about personal branding, and we're seeing a movement now within the branding and marketing worlds, so to speak, that is really heavily leaning into personal branding. But what is it? Why is it important? How do we as individuals figure out what this personal branding means to us, what it means in relation to our company brands? That is what we're going to dive into today. I'm going to kick things off and let you all know what I think about personal branding and break it down just into the really fine pieces. Personal brand is really your personality. It's your character and it's your reputation. It is the unique qualities about you as the individual. It's also what people are saying about you when you're not in the same room as them. When the conversations are happening about you, the person, what is it that people are saying? How are they describing you? How are they describing what you do or what you're known for? So all of those aspects, I think, make up a personal brand. We hear a lot about the strategy behind building a personal brand and so on and so forth. But why are we having so many conversations and so many people are teaching on the subject of how to create a personal brand if it's simply the combination of your personality, your character, and your reputation? Here's what we think is going on. We are in a culture now that really emphasizes social influencers. We've got coaches, we have consultants, we've got writers and speakers and podcasters and serial entrepreneurs. Everyone has a platform and a microphone. We are hearing from a lot of people on a personal basis more than we ever used to, I think, just because of our communication tools that we have available to us at the moment. Whereas in the past, maybe, a decade or two at least in the past, a lot of branding was done around a business or some type of entity or a product and not necessarily a person, unless the person was a celebrity or that was a brand that needed to be cultivated. But as an individual living, at least for our listeners in the United States, in a Western culture, the rise of personal branding means something. I think it is because of where we are at culturally. What does this mean for those of us who are business owners, who are building business brands? Or maybe if you are a product developer, you've got products that you are building brands around individually under the umbrella of some type of corporate brand. What do you even do with considering building out a personal brand as well? What it all comes down to is that mix of trust and authenticity, people knowing you, liking you, and trusting you, that KLT factor. We are seeing the desire to connect personally, so human to human, person to person, rather than entity to entity or human to entity. I'm going to actually toss it over to Jessie because she's got some really great thoughts on this that I would love to have her share. Jessie, what is your take on this personal branding, maybe trend, if we could even call it a trend? What's your take on it? And what is your advice for our listeners today?
I think it's super interesting because in this space, you and I have had a lot of conversations. I know that I mentioned to you There is someone that I follow online, fellow designer. I always really love the brands and websites that she creates. And I think she has always kind of worked with a mix of businesses and different types of entrepreneurs. She made an announcement at the beginning of this year that she was going to go all in on just focusing on developing and designing personal brands rather than just business brands. I know we operate under embellished brands and untethered design studio, and I think we will definitely continue to do that. We've put a lot of time and work into these brands that we are very much blended into, but I think that we do a really good job, and a lot of our listeners can probably relate to where and how you draw that line and have that balance of the personal professional blend. It is us. We are a one woman shop. We are our brand, but the business is still here. And I can still close my laptop at the end of the day. I can still take a break. I can still walk away. I'm still me as a person with a lot of life outside of this business. I think it's a personal preference in terms of if anyone is sitting here thinking right now, okay, do I keep focusing on my business or do I start building myself as more of a personal brand with the services that I provide or the products that I build? And I think it's just good for us to preface this as we're not really giving direction one way or another. I really do think it's personal preference. And we have talked about this on other episodes, so I won't go into all of that. But I do think that there can be a case for maybe why someone would want to flesh out more of a personal brand or start focusing on developing themselves as a personal brand with all of the things they do rather than solely attaching themselves to just the business that they have created, just the product they're selling or the service that they're providing. A reason for that I'm seeing people gravitate towards, and I would maybe even consider for myself one day, would be just the fact that a personal brand is really flexible and it's really scalable. That means you can change and shift in business and take different directions at different times, and you can pivot. You can change your services, you can change products, you can change industries, you can change the demographic that you serve, the markets that you're in. But at the end of the day, you're still you as a person that people come to know and like and trust. So if you have that personal brand in place, people who like you and trust you and want to keep following you are going to do it regardless of what it is that you do, regardless of the service, regardless of the business, regardless of the location, regardless of the industry. If at that point you have enough of a following and people who connect with you and kind of resonate with your messaging and who you are as an individual personal brand, they're going to keep an interest in you. They're going to maintain following you and wanting to still see what you're doing and where you're at. You're positioning yourself as that individual that they can still connect with no matter what you're doing in business, where, how, and why you're doing it. That kind of leads into my next thought of people simply connect with personal stories rather than necessarily a corporate identity or a thing that a business is doing. Like humans connect to stories in general, but I think as humans, especially, we connect to other humans and our individual stories. If you have set yourself up as a personal brand, regardless of the business brands that you're maybe running and overseeing, just you and the story that you tell, maybe your roots, how you came to be, the things you deal with on a daily basis, real life nitty gritty, that's what people connect with more so than the cool thing that you did in your business today, right? I think it's a blend for sure. And it's hard. There's no right or wrong way to do it or answer. These are just sort of thoughts to consider if you are thinking, I do want to have that flexibility. Maybe the business I have right now, I'm not going to have 5 years from now, and I'm going to be doing something else, or I'm going to be doing 10 things at once. But no matter what I'm doing, I still want people to follow me as the individual. That's the case to be made for the importance and significance of having a personal brand. I also think that having a personal brand allows you to kind of humanize your business, regardless of whether it's one business like we each have or multiple businesses or multiple ventures. No matter what, us as a person that someone follows, we are still a human. They still connect with us. To be honest, it sort of lends well to the business and being able to promote it because once again, you're blending yourself into the business. So hopefully people follow you and they follow your business brands, as well. And they kind of see the blend of the two. But most importantly, I think if you have that loyal following as a personal brand, it just allows you to be more relatable and humanize that business in a way that people will also connect with it while simultaneously connecting with you, if that makes sense. So you want to be unique, you want to be memorable. Well, how do you do that? It helps just being a person, just being authentic, being real, being someone that someone else connects to, no matter what your businesses are doing.
As you were talking, Jesse, I was thinking of the phrase that it's not what you know, it's who you know. But in this case, I think it is actually a combination of the two. When you are building your personal brand, or if you feel that there is a need and a necessity for you to have that identity independent of the business brand that you are working on, the reason for that, or maybe a significant reason, is probably because you want people to know you, the human, away from the things that you are doing or the things that you know. But yet, as you were saying, people connect with stories. Part of storytelling is sharing the what and the how of whatever it is that you've got going on that you want to share in order to connect with people. I was also thinking too of when, and actually, this is more kind of in a marketing perspective, but the phrase bringing somebody on to be the face of the brand. So you have these celebrity endorsements, or even these days, it's mostly influencers too. They become this face that is synonymous with a specific brand. With the rise of personal branding, it is intended to not have necessarily a single face for a business brand, which is fine if that is, what your business brand needs, but it's also creating space for somebody to be known for who they are, no matter what it is that they are involved with. It could be kind of that influencer lifestyle where maybe your life is an open book and you want to monetize and you just want to build relationships and grow your network or whatever it is. If you think about that phrase, becoming the face of the brand, then from a personal branding perspective, it is you and it is whatever it is you want to bring to the table. Jesse and I have had a lot of conversations about personal branding, kind of off the record, so to speak. And we've discussed this because it's something. Our approach to branding is it's a mix of strategy and style. And at the heart of strategy is what specifically are we building a brand around? Is this a person? Is it the service? Is there a mission or certain values maybe that we're highlighting? What is the core of what we're building the brand around? For a lot of us who are independent business owners, solopreneurs, we are kind of the brand. We're building a business, but we are the ones working in the business. We are heavily influencing the business. It is difficult to draw a line sometimes between the business brand and the personal brand because they are very interconnected. So, to kind of circle back to how we opened this episode is with the rise that we are seeing and the conversations that we are seeing about personal branding, the need to have one, professionals who are going all in on personal branding to help people develop their personal brands. These are trends to pay attention to. But I do think, as far as what we've been seeing, is there's maybe we could say it just seems a little confusing about the advice that's out there. We don't need to overcomplicate personal branding, in my opinion. I think if we get down to the brass tacks, the nitty gritty of what personal branding is, it is simply just allowing your personality, your character, and your reputation to be on display for more people to see. It can be as simple as that. Yes, you then might create a strategy around how you will go about doing that. But I don't think we need to overcomplicate this idea of creating or building a personal brand and crafting it in such a way that it could potentially become inauthentic because it is so curated. For those of us who are kind of kicking around this idea for ourselves and our listeners who are in the space of what should I do, if anything, about focusing on building a personal brand in addition to my business brand, I don't think you have to stress out about it as much. I think it's more of being intentional, moving forward in your work about showing more of you and those unique qualities about you as a person, in addition to the brand that you are building for yourself. Jesse, do you have any thoughts on that?
I love what you said. Giving people an opportunity to put their personality and character and reputation on display, because that can be done on different platforms and through your different brands and your different businesses. I could not agree more. And maybe that's the point of this episode is to express there's no right or wrong way to do it, or yes or no, or hey, I'm a single individual female entrepreneur. I have my business. I'm Jessie, who has Untethered Design Studio. You're Jamie, who has Embellished Brands. Does there have to be this total separation? Do I have to build a personal brand individually as Jessie and for you individually as Jamie? I don't think it's a specific cut and dry, black or white, yes or no thing. We are sort of simultaneously building our personal brand and our business brand at the same time, and they support each other. They complement each other, they supplement each other. I don't know that you can have one without the other. This kind of hit me yesterday. I was on just several different calls and booked a new client yesterday, actually, a new branding client. And I remember thinking, she doesn't care about the business or that it's untethered or all the things I offer. We were just having a conversation as women, just as humans, connecting over things that we had in common. And the sale was seamless. It was easy. There was no sale. It was, when do we get started? There was not even a question. We tackled a few, hey, this is kind of how this will look and how the process will go. But first off, to be honest, I mean, this person came to me as a referral from another happy client who had already kind of sung my praises. So she did the selling for me. Keep that in mind, everyone listening. Your referrals, your word of mouth, like that's your best
Your
selling
reputation, right?
avenue right there. Because we could do another episode on ways to market and having lead generation systems and all that for another day. But I will argue that you cannot beat just the personal, referrals, your clients doing the speaking for you. They will do the selling for you. So that being said, this other client had such a good experience just connecting with me as a person and kind of loving me as a person that she was happy to refer this new client to me. So by the time we get on a call, it doesn't matter what the name of my business was or the color palette I use on my website or the way that my services are structured. I'm not saying those aren't important things, but what made that sale was just her as a human making a connection to another human, me as Jessie, not as Untethered Design Studio necessarily. I'm the face of Untethered, I'm the leader of it, the ambassador of it. But did she invest in Jessie yesterday or did she invest in Untethered, or are they kind of the same thing? It's just sort of interesting to look at it in that way, I think, because we have such personal connections with our clients. We're humans speaking with humans. They connect with us emotionally because that personal connection and her getting to know me as Jessie, that's what you could consider as my personal brand, led to the business for Untethered Design
Right.
Studio. Just something to consider, I think, for our women listening like us who are the solopreneurs. Don't think, okay, I have to go build the personal brand separately now, or yeah, I'll keep focusing on the business brand. They're kind of one and the same. The personal brand is just that personality, reputation, character, like you said, Jamie, that the other end connects with, that then funnels them into your business and your business brand.
This was sort of a slightly rambling conversation today, but I think it's a good one to have, and hopefully our listeners find value in this because there's a lot of pressure when we see a rise in these topics being discussed. When we are seeing industry leaders saying, "All right, guys, I'm changing my model, my service model. I'm going all in on this one thing." That's the time to sit up and pay attention and go, "Huh, this is really interesting. Why? What led to this? What's happening in culture? What's going on?" And at the same time, because we're such a social media driven society, and for those of us operating businesses, we are probably on social media ourselves as a way of marketing what we do. There is the pressure to perform a certain way because of what shows up in our feed. And I think my personal approach is is notice the trends, notice the patterns. If you're like, gosh, I've been seeing a lot about, X lately. Well, why? WHY. Why? Am I why you know, why is it showing up? Is it a fad? Is it something I need to pay attention to? Is it something I can dismiss? Ultimately, again, because our audience is primarily small business owners, solopreneurs, busy women, we wanted to take this opportunity to bring up this subject, but also to maybe help you look at it from a couple of different angles. And then third, maybe just help release some pressure that you might be feeling. You're busy in your business, you're trying to build that brand, but now there's this added pressure that we're seeing culturally and online about now you also have to build and manage a personal brand and you should follow this strategy. Or this 5-step strategy or their 10-step strategy or buy their funnel or whatever it is to build your personal brand. And I think ultimately, maybe the bottom line that we're here to share today is you don't have to. Because ultimately, you as the human, you already essentially have a personal brand and it's called your personality. It's your
Mm,
character and it's your reputation. It's those things, it's the combination of them. It's how you engage with the people you're already serving. You already have a personal brand. Could it be more well defined? Sure, maybe. Always there's always room for improvement, but don't feel pressured to build something else that maybe you may not have time for right now, but maybe tuck it away and be more cognizant of what you are doing now in the day-to-day. Make some refinements that will lead into this more distinguishable personal brand that is separate from the business brand. Also realize that they do coexist. There's already something there, whether it's well-defined or not. And maybe that's okay for right now. Or maybe you do need to flesh out a more distinct personal brand, and that is okay too. But I think ultimately where we're at in today's episode is just wanting to explore these conversations, these topics that we've been seeing arise in, and also maybe just saying, just notice
yeah,
and
just
don't panic.
file it
Don't
away,
file it away. Don't give in or feel the pressure to add another major brand building item to your already very long to-do list.
right? You have your existing business name that you operate under and your brand. Keep growing, keep building. Don't stop and go, okay, I'm going to operate just under my name now and focus on a personal brand unless you are really called to do that. And I do have a couple of quick tips that just kind of came to me to share quickly here, adding on to what you were saying, Jamie, filing it away for later, just taking it into consideration. Something that might help hold you over in the meantime, if it is something that you want to explore, kind of fleshing out a little bit more. Number one, get brand photos. This is important to do regardless whether you want to focus on the personal brand or the business brand. Headshots. People connect with a photo of you as a person with your headshot quicker and easier than they do a logo. You can have a beautiful logo that's super representative of your brand and the face of your visual brand, but to be honest, your actual face is really the face of kind of both brands, especially your personal brand. And I
Can
do
I
think
interject?
people, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but also what I've been seeing so much of is the rise in creating AI twins. I don't know if you've seen this, Jesse. There's some different terms going around for it. Humans want to deal with humans, and you have probably been noticing a rise in AI human imagery, and you can probably tell pretty quickly it's not a real human. I wanted to interject and offer that caution. I've been seeing a lot of people now making money on this personal branding strategy of teaching you how to use AI to generate AI twins of you. So basically, building out a bunch of quote unquote brand photos with you in them, but it's not actually you, it's an AI generated image. And maybe this is a deeper conversation for another day, but perhaps when we're talking about building connections with humans, maybe we stay away from the AI component for a minute. And like you said, Jesse, focus on these tangible ways to show that you are a human that is available to connect with other humans as you are working on your personal brand.
Yeah, I love that. I had read something somewhere not too long ago about sure the face of your business, but your personal brand, someone connects with that headshot. quicker than they do a logo. And that's not that the logo's not memorable, but your face is what people really connect with. And people are also afraid to put themselves out there. I know that they're afraid to get on a podcast or be in front of a video or let their voice be heard, let their face be seen. But really, that helps you to keep building that personal brand alongside your business brand. So, one thought there, just a simple headshot. My second thought is secure your domain name. If your name is available, like yourname.com, or maybe a variation of it is available, I mean, we save domains all the time, don't we, Jamie, for all of our future dreams and ideas and
Wheeling and
plans.
dealing in domain registrations, yeah.
For that $12 a year, why not? What's one more? If maybe your name is available, some version of it that you think, hey, maybe I will have, even if it's a one page site, I'll have some kind of online presence that is just more for me as my personal brand one day. Go ahead and secure the domain. I think it's just another way to solidify some security there where you feel like, hey, I can save this for a rainy day, but at least I have it.
Those are great tips, Jesse. I'm really glad you brought that up because we certainly love to give you, our listeners, some actionable tips that you can walk away with. So we made this podcast episode worthwhile for you to listen to. Well, on that note, we are near the end of this episode. As always, we are going to wrap up with a segment that we enjoy called Talk Branding to Me. So, Jesse, today is your turn to talk branding to me.
Alrighty. So I wanted to share that I had read an article just online with Forbes. I think they had published it maybe sometime last year, last summer, I think. And I just thought it was interesting. And to be honest, I wrote some notes because I wanted to quote directly from the article as well. But it was about making the case for why personal brands are outperforming business brands. So going back to that article, I thought, well, that's really timely for our discussion today. So why not dive into that a little bit? But basically, a few takeaways from it was kind of what we've already covered, to be honest. It was just sort of reinforcing the idea that people connect with people, not perfection. We have gone through, speaking of trends, have we not gone through the trend of years ago of the perfectly curated website and Instagram feed and all the things? Now, because everything is cyclical and things always come back in style and go out of style at some point, now it's not so much about focusing on the flawless curation, but people want the real and raw documentation. They want you to hop on the video, in your sweatpants, talking about what you did that day, because that's, again, what people connect to and relate to as real people versus seeing the perfectly crafted photo overlay of your clean white desk and your vase of flowers and your candle burning. Like, we enjoy and have all of those things
We
too,
love
but
a good aesthetic.
we do love a good aesthetic. Absolutely. But people are now not wanting to see that as much and they're wanting to see the mess. They're wanting to see the chaos. I think what it is they're just wanting to see the real. It's about being more authentic that way, which of course we always talk about when it comes to branding on this podcast. But I love what they said here. They said content doesn't close clients, conversations do. Perfect example with my conversation yesterday. I'm not, you can speak processes and systems and here's how we do this. But people, to be honest, don't really care. They just want to know that it gets done, that you are taking care of them and you're the person for the job. So, a couple of other thoughts here. Your brand isn't your logo, it's how people feel when they see your face and hear your voice. You don't need a million followers. You need 1,000 people who know who you are and trust how you show up. That's when sales feel like referrals instead of cold pitches. I just love that. I think there's a lot of truth there in terms of people seeing the face and hearing the voice, even more so than what your logo looks like or what your colors are. Even if you have a business brand, this is really cool. Make your team members micro brands. So have them show up as themselves so that the audience gets to know them and not just you. This allows your brand to have multiple points of entry through them, not just you. I love that. Making the case for, hey, you can still have a business brand over here supported by a team, right? You can have contractors, you can have employees, whatever it is. They are representatives of your brand. Let people get to know them. The more that people can connect with multiple people, the better. So I think that was just a really cool point that they made that sort of stuck out to me. And then one last one here, reputation should be built ahead of time and kind of from the beginning, not just during a crisis. Stack,
1000%. Yes.
right? Stack trust day in and day out. That is what people come to know and connect with, not just seeing how you react to an overnight situation. And I'll phrase this and add it in my own words here. It's important that your audience and community sees you in everyday moments, not just in emergency ones, right? This all drives the point home of personality, character, reputation. How you handle one thing is how you handle everything. That's what people come to know, like, and trust. So whether it's you as an individual or you representing your business brand, it still comes back to just you as a person, as a human that connects with people, through everyday moments. People getting to actually know you, and that's who they want to talk to. That's who they want to connect with and work with and buy from. So, just thought it was really interesting. The case for blending more of that personal branding into a business brand.
Yes. Oh, this was really good, Chelsea. Thank you for sharing that. And I think if you've got the link, let's post it in the show
Yes,
notes so our friends
absolutely.
can go and read this article for themselves. There were a lot of really great takeaways. So thank
Yeah,
you for sharing
of
with us
course.
today. Well, friends, that brings us to the end of another episode on personal branding. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Talk Branding to Me. If today's conversation sparked a new way of thinking about your brand, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow business owner who's ready to think deeper about branding and have fun with it too.
For more branding insights, behind the scenes conversations, and resources to support your brand journey, connect with us at Embellish Brands and at Untethered Design on social media.
Don't forget, branding is more than just aesthetics, it's both strategy and style.
Until next time, remember, you're fully capable of building a brand you're proud of, and we're here cheering you on every step of the way.